How's it going, guys? It's Avi from Winter Storm 5000. As today, we're going to talk about Winter Storm Kade, which is expected to bring heavy snowfall between the Midwest to the Great Lakes region to the interior Northeast region, as well as and also the Mid Atlantic might not be out of threat. As before I elaborate on that, make sure to subscribe for more weather-related videos if you want to, and make sure to like this video if you like it. But let's get on with it. So this is a radar as of right now, and by the way, it's currently February 4th, very early in February 4th. It's currently 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. And as you can see right now, there isn't really much going on. We obviously have some showers pretty much going all across the southeast, extending from Texas all the way as far west as even like the western portions of, as far east as the western portions of Pennsylvania, as we're seeing a long extending band of rain showers as it's expected to continue to extend as the cool air from behind it continues to enhance some of the convection and rainfall within this region and potentially extend the rainfall area as the storm continues to get more strength and instability to create more convection to extend potentially all the way up to New Jersey and some of the coastal Atlantic states. And other than that, should dump mainly a small amount of rainfall over the next 24 hours. However, that rainfall is expected to increase as I'll go over in a little bit. But other than that, we do have some snow showers that's currently just to the east of Denver right now. That's currently over Nebraska and the extreme northwestern portions of Kansas, as well as it's dumping mainly light snow in this area, maybe moderate in some areas, but for the most part, it's mainly light. However, that's if we look at the current surface to get a better idea of what's going on exactly. So we see, ignore like the radar because this like the rain and snow showers area is greatly exaggerated in this map, but I just want you guys to focus to at least the warm front and the low pressure system. So we're seeing mainly dry conditions all across the East Coast thanks to this high pressure that's centered over Florida, and this high pressure as well that's centered over the interior Northeast. That's bringing mainly dry conditions for the most part in those areas, and also we're seeing a warm front that's bringing well above average temperatures in this region as we're seeing borderline record highs for the nighttime as we're seeing up to 60-degree temperatures in the southern portions of Ohio and Indiana, as I'll show you right now. And this temperature reading was as of 12 a.m. at nighttime. And so to see 60-degree temperatures at nighttime near the near the like Columbus area is extremely rare for the winter time, especially in February, where we would usually see lows in the 20s in these areas, but they're going up to 60s as a result of this warm front. And we're seeing 60-degree temperatures all throughout this area, and even going borderline 70 towards the coastal Texas regions. And as for the Northeast, we're seeing 30-degree temperatures in these areas, which is still a little bit above average for the nighttime. And we're seeing, like in my area, we're seeing 42-degree temperatures, which feels quite warm to be honest, especially comparing it to how cold it will get at night. So we're seeing well above average temperatures as a result of this high pressure and the warm front enhancing the south wind that's bringing a lot of warm air to places that shouldn't really experience temperatures that high. However, I obviously will point out that there's this huge dip of cold air that's dipping all the way down south towards Texas and the Oklahoma City area, and we see quite a baroclinic zone right around this area, right around Oklahoma City, because you see that towards the southeastern portions of Oklahoma, we see temperatures that are in the 60s. If you go probably even 100 miles north, it drops to the 30s. That's a huge contrast in temperature and is just creating a lot of instability in this area that it's creating showers. However, since it's the nighttime currently, there isn't that much instability. There isn't that much rising air because obviously the sun isn't out right now to induce a lot of these showers. But as the sun comes out into later today and into Wednesday, and as these snow showers, like as visible in the radar, continues to move more towards the southeast, the cold air will as well. And as that cold air meets up with the warmer air that's towards the southeast and just over the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to see this storm strengthen and potentially bring a decent amount of snowfall across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and interior Northeast as the GFS model, as the NAM, GFS, and European model are agreeing upon that. We're going to see quite a bit of snow throughout the Midwest and even the interior Northeast as we enter the weekend, and even after Friday, we could see potential snow event as far east as the I-95 corridor. So that's something to keep in mind. But anyways, without further ado, let me show this. So we already experienced 9 inches of snow in Salt Lake City, which caused a lot of traffic, which caused a lot of accidents. But now it should be over for Salt Lake City as the snow shower band continues to move west. As I like to use a NAM model in this instance because it's a little bit more accurate when it comes to really determining the area of the snowfall and rainfall, because the GFS, even though it does show precipitation radar type forecast, it still exaggerates the rainfall and snowfall area a little bit. The NAM is a little bit more realistic when forecasting that, but I would say this as of about right now where we see snow showers over Colorado. But as we continue, that you see that low pressure begins to form as a result of this cold air that's being enhanced by this Arctic high pressure system that's bringing northwest winds towards the south, which is creating that instability for that low pressure to develop. But it continues to move towards the east. It starts to lose a little bit of its strength, but it still continues on with the little instability it has towards the northeast. But the high pressure right around this area is keeping things dry for now in the interior northeast, so that's something to keep in mind. But if we move forward, you see that the southeast, you see this big snow band that's starting to form as a result of this dip in the high pressure system that's going to bring cooler air to the warmer areas, and it's going to strengthen the baronclinic zone. It's going to strengthen a low pressure system that's going to develop, and it's going to bring a pretty big band of heavy snow across Oklahoma and Texas as we head into this as of Wednesday, where we see that snow band begin to develop from this Colorado snow shower area, and then that moves south and that continues on northward. This still Wednesday entering into Thursday, where we see that snow right around Missouri, as St. Louis could get involved in this. So keep that in mind. St. Louis, Kansas, Oklahoma City could get involved in pretty hefty snowfall, and it continues as the cool air continues to dig down to the south, strengthening this storm system as a low pressure begins to form over Mississippi going into Thursday. And then as we continue to move forward, that low pressure continues to develop as that cool air doesn't seem to rise back up to where it should be in the north as it continues to dig down to the south, creating more instability for this to strengthen into potentially a 998 millibar storm by the time we head midday into Thursday. And as we head midday into Thursday, we see the ice. We see the potential of ice and wintry mix towards the southern portions of upstate New York and northern portions of Pennsylvania and Connecticut, Rhode Island, and even New Jersey might get involved in that wintry mix. And we move forward as we see that Chicago could get involved, Detroit could get involved in hefty snow and maybe some ice as well. And interior Northeast definitely should experience a decent amount of snow, as I could say that confidently, maybe up to 8 inches in some of these areas. But As we continue to move forward, that snow dumps over the interior northeast, but it's not done yet because that cold air is still dipping far south enough to where it'll encounter that Gulf Stream waters. So another low pressure system develops right behind this low pressure system, and that's where we could see snow go further east. So right now the NAM model is pushing the snow a little bit further west, which would miss out on New Jersey and a lot of the I-95 corridor. But if we look towards GFS model, it's bringing that snow a little bit closer to the I-95 corridor. So what's going to be the big factor in this is how far south and how far east this high pressure system goes, because it is primarily the one bringing the cool air, and also this low pressure system is enhancing that northwest wind to bring a dip in the cold air far south enough to where this storm could strengthen and we could see snow on the back side of it. As I wouldn't say it's a major snowstorm, because usually a major winter storm would have like a wraparound of moisture that wraps around the low pressure system with dry air towards the southwest of it. But this is more of like a straight storm system where most of the rain and most of the snow is just in a straight line. But that wraparound develops as the storm strengthens. As you can see, we see the dry air starting to infiltrate the low pressure area, as we're starting to see that hook, that wraparound right around the low pressure system as it strengthens. But by the time that happens, it's going to be more up north to Canada, to where it won't really affect us, but this should still bring a hefty amount of snow even after the initial low pressure system moves out of the northeast on Friday, as this could be a Saturday event as well, bringing more snow to the interior northeast and the coastal mid-Atlantic states. So it all depends on this high pressure, how far southeast it goes, and how strong the winds are from the northwest to see how much cold air infiltrates the mid-Atlantic, coastal mid-Atlantic states. But what I could say confidently is that the southern portions of the Great Lakes, probably Detroit, maybe Chicago, and even Oklahoma City and the northwestern portions of Texas will all experience a decent amount of snow with this. So your question is probably how much snow. So Liz, the snowfall forecast for the next 24 hours, we could see up to a foot in the extreme higher elevations of Colorado, and mostly an area of 6 to 10 inches throughout this area on the higher elevations of Rocky Mountains, and Denver, maybe 2 inches if you're lucky or unlucky, depending whether you like snow or not. But we could see up to 2 inches maybe in Denver. But in the higher elevations of the Rockies, you could easily see 10 inches from this. But that's as of 24 hours. If we look 5 days from now, we see a decent amount of snow just northwest of Texas, potentially up to 8 inches in this area around Oklahoma City. This is the GFS forecast. It's leading more towards 2 inches. That could change because you see there's a stark contrast in how much accumulation you will get. So like a 20-mile variation in the forecast could mean a huge difference for Oklahoma City, from getting no snow to getting potentially 8 inches of snow. So that's going to be something to definitely keep in mind. But as we move more north, it gets more certain that we're going to see snow in Chicago, where we could see again up to 8 inches, around 4 to 8 inches, around 4 to 8 inches just northwest of St. Louis. As this is going to be another tough forecast for St. Louis, because it's going to be right at the border of getting no snow to potentially getting 8 inches of snow. So it's going to be a similar situation with Oklahoma City as well. But Detroit as well, also on the border. So a lot of these cities like Detroit, Oklahoma City, and St. Louis, keep in mind, you gotta keep and watch closely and prepare as if you're gonna get 10 inches of snow, because although the forecast might be saying like 1 inch or maybe even less, that again, that slight variation in forecast could mean the difference between those cities getting no snow to those to getting 10 inches of snow. So you don't want. So it's better to be safe than sorry, is what I'm saying in these cities. So prepare as if you're getting 10 inches of snow. But as for the interior Northeast, it also gets a little more certain. Where in the upper portions of Maine, we could see up to. We could be talking 2 feet of snow in these areas, and up towards the Adirondacks, we see maybe I see a general area of probably 4 to 8 inches towards the upper portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and the middle portions of Maine, and as well as northern Adirondacks. As the snowfall forecast currently is still changing, we're still keep in mind that the storm is still around 4 days out for the upper Northeast, so it does get a little uncertain, but generally speaking, I could confidently say in these northern areas we will see like around at least 3 to 8 inches of snow, but it all depends where that rain snow line ends up, because it could end up further south, which would mean more snow, especially for the southern portions of upstate New York and potentially Boston as well, or maybe go a little bit up north to where we see less snow and maybe more of an ice threat in the upper portions of the interior Northeast. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And as for the ice, is what the National Weather Service is saying. So the ice threat should be limited, because for the most part, the National Weather Service is predicting at least like a tenth inch of snow or less, but there are some isolated areas where it could experience more than a tenth of inch of ice, which may lead to some problems, because more than a tenth of inch of ice could mean big problems despite how little that sounds. So don't underestimate this if you get a tenth of an inch of ice forecast in your area. As again, ice forecast is also a little dicey. It's difficult to forecast because any slight temperature variation within any level of the atmosphere can mean the difference of you getting a major freezing rain event to you getting wintry mix, which isn't as bad. So definitely something to keep in mind, that this is still very uncertain, especially 4 days out, as I'll continue to monitor how this shapes out over the next several days. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And same goes for Missouri and St. Louis could get involved. So keep that in mind over the next several days. But anyways, guys, I guess that's it for this forecast video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. And I hope you guys have a good night or a great day, depending whenever you're watching this.